Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now you join me very early, pre-8 a.m. on a rather chilly autumn morning here in the southern English woodland. Hence I've got a nice little fire going. Want to generate some embers to do some cooking in a minute for breakfast. So don't be distracted by that, it's there to keep me warm. But today I'm just going to do a short and sweet one because a young chap has reached out to me and he's looking for some support about an issue which he has, which I think I'm able to offer some guidance. So this comes from Ned. Ned is 18 and this is what he says. I'm currently at university in Wellington, New Zealand, studying a Bachelor in Classical Performing on trumpet. I'm enjoying the degree very much, but whenever I play solo repertoire in front of a crowd of my peers, I always run into issues such as cottonmouth and other performance anxiety. There's a lot of competition at this university and everyone is rather judgmental, and that's going through my head when I play. The last thing I want people to think is that I'm not a good player. As you're a public speaker, I was wondering if you had any tips that can help me. Well, absolutely. I think I can, because I've been a professional public speaker for well over probably 15 years now. In fact, I'm up here this morning, going to have some breakfast in a minute. Then at lunchtime, I'm going to pack my bags and I'm heading off to a hotel in Hampshire this evening, because tomorrow I'm giving a professional speech to some folks, and it's kind of the life that I lead. So I have picked up many tips that can help on your journey. I'm not a musician, but I think many of the things overlap, and actually you're not alone. That's the first thing I would say to you, is that fear of performance, stage fright, whatever you want to call it, there are special names for it when it comes to certain types of performance anxiety, but fear of giving a public performance is very, very common. And in fact, I just looked it up, right? So a study of 155 professional symphonic musicians was undertaken a few years ago, and 91 out of the 155 musicians researched said that performance anxiety had damaged their professional and their personal lives to a degree. So the first thing I would say to you is what you're feeling right now. I know you're probably thinking, it's only me. Everybody else I look at seems so much more professional, seems so much more put together. They don't seem to be affected by stage fright, performance anxiety in the way that I am. They're just better at hiding it, all right? The first thing you have to know is that the vast majority of people feel exactly the same way as you. When it comes to professional speaking, which is just another form of public performance really, there's a term for the fear of public speaking, and it's called glossophobia. And numerous research has been done over the years which shows that fear of public speaking, glossophobia, affects about 3/4 of the population to a point that they feel paralyzed when it comes to the thought of speaking publicly. So the first thing that should assuage your concerns is the fact that you're not alone, it's very common. Now that should already start to help you. There is more though to add that can assist you on the journey to mastering your performance anxiety. The first thing I would say is that, as I said, it's perfectly normal. We all get it. I still get a little tickle in the stomach before I go on stage or before I give a presentation to groups of people. And I'll be frank, many of the talks that I give, I have given at this point hundreds of times. I'm an enrichment lecturer, so I tend to give the same lectures over and over again. There's nothing in my material which is going to surprise me, yet sometimes I still feel a little bit anxious before I deliver my presentations. But there's something that you have to learn to do. You have to embrace the anxiety. You have to understand that that is perfectly normal. It is part of the process of getting ready for a presentation or a performance of music, as you say, a solo repertoire in front of your co-musicians, and it's just going to be part of your life forever. And when you understand that, and that it's not something which is temporarily affecting you right now, sometimes it's easier to get your head around it and realize it's always going to be something which I have to manage, and that's fine. But there are ways of managing it. of embracing that anxiety. Now, one of the things I'm very careful of doing is I prepare carefully the day before, 24 hours before I give a talk or deliver some training or whatever the things I do in my life. Not quite the same as delivering a musical performance, but it's quite similar. 24 hours in advance, I'm already thinking about it. I'm preparing. First of all, I'm preparing my body, all right? I don't drink alcohol, generally anyway, but even when I did, I wouldn't have drunk alcohol for 24 hours before the performance because it would dull my senses, all right? Particularly overindulging. If you've got a big party the night before a performance, I would abstain from alcohol totally because there's a reason why we don't allow people to drink and drive cars. It dulls the senses, it affects your performance. It's the same for whatever type of performance you're going to give. So for me, if I want to be sharp and on the fine edge of my performing capability, I do not drink alcohol the day or the night before, particularly, and I certainly wouldn't put myself in a position to overindulge in any way. The other thing I'm careful about what I eat even, all right? Because when you're anxious and you're nervous, it speeds up your metabolism. You'll tend to have maybe butterflies in the stomach. And if you're somebody who's prone to suffer with that, and shall I even go a step further, you might have something of a slippery bowel the day of a performance because nerves are pushing things through your system quicker. Be careful what you eat the day before. I would avoid spicy curries. Maybe spicy Mexican food or anything which you know through experience has a habit of affecting your digestive system. The last thing you want is to be holding on to your stomach and having overwhelming desire to go to the toilet just before your performance. So eat boring the day before. I always do it. I'm going to have a cheese sandwich tonight because that is what is perfect for settling the stomach in my regard. And the other thing as well, it's not just alcohol, it's not just food, hydration, right? People tend to forget to drink and things like that when they are about to perform. Being hydrated is really good for mental acuity, keeping yourself on top of your game. So don't forget to keep yourself hydrated. Drink, plenty of water the day before. Get it all ready, get your system happy and prepared. The other thing you can do, it's simple logistics really. It's things like knowing the venue. If you've never performed at that venue before, if you live nearby, go and have a look around it. See where the car parking is, right? So that you're not rushing to get to the place and then when you get there, there's nowhere to park your car. Anxiety starts to mount up. You feel it building up on your stage fright or your glossophobia. Know where there is to park. If you're not sure and you don't live anywhere near it, go on Google Maps, have a damn good look at it. And if that doesn't help, get in touch with the organizer of the event you're going to and say, where should I park? Now, in many cases, when I deliver talks, I insist that they reserve a car parking space for me in the car park of the venue so that I know that's one less thing that I have to worry about. And it means my performance will be that much better. And it's not just that. In the venue itself, if you can have a look around, find out where the toilets are. Find out where the audience will come in, where you get to go out. Now, I'm presuming you probably know the venues that you are performing at because you've been there before. But it's just things to think of in the future, right? Always do the logistics. Remember, the best generals always say, battles are not won by battlefield tactics. They are won by the logistics that put you on the battlefield. So to be your best performer, you've got to get there in a good frame of mind and be ready to perform. And that involves finding out where the car park is, running over the route that you're going to take to drive there. Make sure you get there half an hour early or even further in advance than that. If you get there an hour early, what's the problem? You guarantee a good parking space. You can go for a little walk around to calm your nerves. And then you can do things like, have a good look around the venue before the audience come in. Everything will be in place and there's no rush, no haste required. And you can be in absolutely the perfect frame of mind. Now, another thing, which might not affect you so obviously as a professional musician, is dress the part. All right, appearance counts when it comes to any form of public performance, because people are going to look at you, they are going to scrutinize you, particularly if you're giving a solo performance, or in my case, I'm often standing on a stage and everybody, they're looking at every inch of your clothing and your body, and I'm conscious of that. So I dress as I want to project an image to the people I'm talking to. So I will wear a sports jacket, a suit, depending on the situation that I'm in. Now for you, as a performer in an orchestra, you may have a uniform mandated upon you. That's fine. Makes life a lot easier. But it doesn't mean you can't be super sharp. It doesn't mean you can't have the shiniest shoes in your orchestra. It doesn't mean that you can't have the best creases in your trousers or your jacket is absolutely pressed. It doesn't mean that the shirt you're wearing isn't fresh, clean, immaculately white and pressed to perfection. If you're required to wear a bow tie, make sure it's a tie that you have tied yourself. You've learned the art of self-tying a bow tie. You can wear a wristwatch, right? You can add those little accessories which actually are very, very subtle, but make you stand apart. And it makes you feel yourself, that you are head and shoulders above your contemporaries. And confidence counts when it comes to performance. Having that feeling that I'm on top of this, I look super sharp, it means your performance is going to be a little bit better than everybody else's. And remember one thing, right? I'm going to make the assumption you know your stuff, all right? You've done the practice. For me, any other public speaker performing, I would suggest that probably the best way to ameliorate your fears and your anxiety is to know what you're going to say backwards, forwards and sideways. And if anything goes wrong, if you're using slides, right, and something goes wrong and they fail, you can still go on. You don't need the slides to be the sort of glamorous assistant. You can do this yourself. But when it comes to musical performance, I presume that you know your stuff, you've practiced it hundreds of times, and that in itself should build your confidence and make you feel comfortable in this delivery. And psychology is a big, big thing. You say everybody around you is rather judgmental, and that's what's going through your head as you play. Well, switch that judgmental around. Remember, right? These are just your fellow musicians on the same path in life that you are. You share a unique bond with them. There are very few people in this world who earn a living or who can achieve the levels of professionalism in the delivery of musical performance that you are at. These people are your brothers and sisters. And they, although you think they're being judgmental, what they really want, this is a team effort, right? It's an orchestra. What they really want is a great performance, and your small part in that performance improves their performance overall. So remember this, everybody is there to see you perform at your best, because if you fail, they fail. So take that psychology off the table. They're not there to laugh and snigger if you have, a failure. They are there just to support you, pushing you along. And as you are to them, I'm sure, if one of your fellow musicians has got, a different solo in the music that you're performing other than yours, you don't want to see them fail, because their failure means your failure. They are thinking the same about you. So take that off the table. And as I burn my notes, the last thing I would leave you with is just to remember this, right? It gets easier over time. You're only 18. I mean, when I was 18, I would have been a bumbling wreck if somebody said to me, get up and give a presentation to a group of people. It took me until my later 30s until I realized that public speaking or public performance is a skill which can be learned. People are not born with it. It's something you have to work with, and you gain confidence as you gain experience and knowledge the more that you do it. So as an 18-year-old, the very fact that you're having these thoughts about overcoming anxiety and becoming a better version of yourself when it comes to the delivery of music, it means you're already well on the way. You are 2 decades ahead of couple of decades ahead of where I was at your phase of life. Because when I was 18, I was nowhere near you are right now when it comes to maturity and the skills that you have. So you are already head and shoulders amongst most of your contemporaries, and this will only get better as time goes on. You gain experience and confidence in yourself. Because when you realize you can do this, it takes away the worry. And then subsequent times, your only focus is on getting a little bit better than you were last time. And eventually you come to a point where you'll never achieve perfection because you're always striving to be that little bit better. And that's what's going to carry you through as time goes on. I hope it has helped in some degree. If it has, don't forget, like the video and subscribe to see more like this. And don't forget, folks, just like our gentleman musician today, right? If you have a question for me in which you seek my avuncular advice, not just something of a specialized nature, such as public performance, but life in general, ask me the question. The email is on the screen now. I'm the only person who reads those emails. You'll get no judgment from me, only support and help if I am able to give it. And I might even make a video just like this, in which I will pass along my advice. So don't forget also, if you want to join me on this journey, you can become one of my patrons. I make extra videos for my patrons exclusively for them. You will find the link to my patron pages in the description box below this video. There are tiers in my patron group which are entirely free. You don't have to pay for them. Go along and join. Come on the journey to Chap Nirvana with me. I would love to have you by my side. Until the next time we meet, put your best foot forward today in whatever you're doing, because whatever you do will be better tomorrow. Take care.